So I'm going to try something a little different again. Instead of leaning into the microphone, I'm going to bring the microphone to me, which might decrease the effectiveness of this little sound, I don't know what you call this, sound shield, maybe? But maybe not, maybe it'll still work. So here we are. This is the Kung Fu Life podcast. And I'm your host, Leo, and this is a special podcast. For one, it is the 25th podcast, and it happens to fall on the Chinese New Year, or at least close enough, or it will anyway. That's when it's going to be put out on the airwaves. I'm actually recording it on February the 4th, so, but I'm pre-recording, so a little special episode for you guys. I'll also have released 2 other podcasts by the time this one gets released, so yeah, so I think I made it harder for me to stay ahead of the game, like I was talking about in the previous episodes, but it's for a good cause, I think. I think this is necessary and important because I like the Chinese New Year. I think it falls on a good a good time frame, for me anyway. It's actually based on the lunisolar Chinese calendar, which is basically defines the month that has the winter solstice in it, which is December, as the 11th month of the year. So that makes January the 12th month, and they decide the start of the new year based on the first new moon of the new year, basically the time between January 21st and February 20th. So for me, it kind of works out well because, our new year, the Western New Year is on the 1st of January. And so that gives me time, for one, to get over the holiday hump and kind of get settled into the new year and kind of get my whole plan set up. I have some specific things that I do every year, and this is one of them. So by the time, basically the Chinese New Year is my deadline to have all the activities I have planned completed, preparing for the new year. So I think it works out pretty well. But I thought I'd give you guys a little history as well. And by the way, I'm not going to do a lessons learned this episode, because this whole episode is basically 11 lessons learned off of last year. I actually did not take notes last year about the lessons that I learned, because really in a lessons learned scenario, you're supposed to take notes right when those lessons happen. But I didn't do that this year or last year, so that might be something I work on this year. I will work on that this year. All right, so let's see. So I'm going to read you this little mythology about the Chinese New Year. So according to the tales and legends, the beginning of Chinese New Year started with a mythical beast called the Nan, a beast that lives under the sea or in the mountains. During the annual spring festival, the Nan would eat villagers, especially children, in the middle of the night. One year, all the villagers decided to go hide from the beast. An old man appeared before the villagers and went into hiding and said he would stay the night and would get revenge on the Nan. All the villagers thought he was insane. The old man put red papers up and set off firecrackers. The day after, the villagers came back to their town and saw that nothing had been destroyed. They assumed that the old man was a deity who came to save them. The villagers then understood that the Yan Wang had discovered that the Nan was afraid of the color red and loud noises. So the tradition grew that when the new year was approaching, the villagers would wear red clothes, hang red lanterns, and red spring scrolls on doors and windows. People also used firecrackers to frighten away the Nan. From then on, Nan never came to the village again. The Nan was eventually captured by Hongjun Laozu, an ancient Taoist monk. After that, Nan retreated to a nearby mountain. The name of the mountain has long been lost over the years. There is also a saying that the beast is Z rather than Nan. Spring Festival included New Year's Eve and New Year. Z is a kind of faint monster, and Nan is not related. And Nan is not related to the animal beasts in terms of meaning. It is more like a mature harvest. There's no record of the beast in the ancient texts. It is only in Chinese folklore. The word Nan, I think I'm saying that wrong, but is composed of the words he and Quan, or Qian. It means that the grain is rich and the harvest is good. The farmers review the harvest at the end of the year and are also full of expectations for the coming year. According to Chinese historical documents, since the beginning of the era, people have celebrated the harvest and the new year and welcomed the new folk customs. And later, they gradually became an established traditional festival. So I thought that was an interesting story to share a little bit about the Chinese culture and how the new year came about. And also maybe where they got the what is it? What would you call it? The protocol or the thought that red is a lucky color. Especially, with lucky money, hung bao, we hand that to our sifus and sigongs and other seniors in the family sometimes on occasion, and that's a show of good luck, or it's we call it lucky money. It's really lucky money for you, not for the sifu, but it's a little red envelope that you hand them, and actually you're supposed to hand it with two, holding it like this, with two thumbs on it. I learned that the hard way. I was giving some lucky money. I had the opportunity on the Richmond 30th anniversary seminar to hand Helen Moy, who is Moyat's wife, a lucky money envelope. And I had never known that you were supposed to hand it like that, or if I had known, I'd forgotten it, because I always just handed it kind of with one hand. I was doing it, I think, respectfully with one hand, as respectfully, I guess, as you can with one hand. But my Sigung had to correct me right there and tell me how to do it the proper way. So a little bit embarrassing that I had to learn that lesson in front of Helen Moy and giving her lucky money, but that's life. Sometimes you learn lessons. Sometimes the most powerful lessons, the most memorable lessons, are the ones you learn in a very embarrassing kind of way. So yeah. So that's a little history. And one of the things that I do is I go over the past year and I try to think about the things that I did that I could have done better, and the things that I did well. And so I'm going to share that with you guys today. All right, so let's start off with the things that I could have done better in 2020. And let me show you guys actually a little. So this is what I use for my spreadsheet. Let me see how easy this is. Oh, it's not easy at all. Look, I'm not good at editing videos and